What's up today, guys? Today we're going to be looking at some brake trouble. So looking at this picture, I figured I'd pull it up so that way you could see actually what's going on behind the slot, whether the slot is from the rear of the backing plate or, as you're going to see here when I pull my wheels off, from the front of the drum. Now the star wheel turns two ways, and if you do your brakes on a car, you probably ought to put a little anti-seize or some wheel bearing grease on the threads, pull it apart, clean it, put it on the threads. That way it turns pretty easy. They self-adjust by hitting the brakes in reverse, and that's what the little metal flapper is to do. Stop it from adjusting inward. What we're doing today is we're going to adjust them outward. And so I thought I'd just show a picture kind of what's going on before I start, because I'm going to probably put music along to it just so you guys don't have to listen to me talk to myself. So I had to start driving this car a bit while the Volkswagen was in the shop, getting the clutch replaced while it was in the negatives, on the Fahrenheit negatives, and it was real snowy, so I took the old Chevy 2, give it some backup, and it does pretty good. Fired up, -6 morning, Fahrenheit, that is. You know, ran like it does when it's 56 degrees out. I got that carburetor finally dialed in pretty good. Timing's pretty good. Good enough, you know, to get to work and back. But the brakes weren't too good. It stops, just not super well. And I have a sneaking suspicion, because I replaced this wheel bearing in here, that I didn't quite get this drum quite right. But we'll just take a look at everything and kind of see how things are going. So I went ahead and already checked the fluid. Fluid's full, really dark. Probably ought to be replaced, but not gonna do that right now because time doesn't let me. So we're gonna go ahead and break this wheel off and jack it up and take a look. So got the wheel off, and if you have to do this, there's a plethora of tools. These are some Lyle tools. They're just stamped steel. They're made in the USA. I don't know what brand this is. It's not Snap-on. Now some of these drums, the adjuster's on the front. If you're lucky, it's in the back. Mine did not. Sometimes you have to pop them out the back to adjust it, and then you just put a plug in. Mine do not have that. So doesn't sound bad. That wheel actually feels, you can tell if the wheel slides in and out real easy, that's probably the wheel you're looking for. That could just be rust built up, but I'm gonna try to adjust this a hair by getting in here. There's a little star wheel, to be able to find it. It's not the way. You can hear it click. So I probably got it a little tight. Still spins. You can hear that pad nicely in there. Careful not to get your finger behind it between that dust shield and this. It'll really nick you. So this feels a lot better. So let's go to another wheel to kind of check those out. I know I've mentioned it before, but one thing I like to do is try to put a little oil or grease or something on these studs, just so that way the lug nuts don't get seized.
if you guys can see that. I'll try to get out of the way to let more light in. You can kind of see the little star wheel in there. That's what you're going to be looking for to spin.
Now, a couple caveats here, things to say, is I did go ahead and tighten up the wheels after I turned the camera off, so hopefully no one says anything about that. I also like to put some miles on it, whether it be, I don't know, 4 miles, maybe I'll drive it to work, maybe I put 30, 40 miles on it, check it in a day or two, drive it down some rough roads. I go back and then I recheck and make sure after I take the wheel off that the lug nuts are still tight. You know, you give it a little bit of time to work in, make sure everything's kind of settled and is where it needs to be. What else was I going to say? On the last wheel that you just saw me do, I actually got it too tight, and how that works is there's a star wheel on there, and that's what you're turning, and then there's a metal piece that catches each one of those slots in there. I put the tool in there, pulled it back, and then used a screwdriver to push it the opposite way. I don't even know, yeah, you can see me. Push it the opposite way, because as when you're rolling the brakes out to set them, you're rolling backwards, so that star wheel comes off to the side, but it won't allow it to go back. Now we're going to take it out so I can check the lug nuts and put the car up for today. I think that's about all I had to say about that, so let's let it warm up a hair here. It's doing pretty good so far. It idles. It's fast idle, but it's idling. So we'll give it a little bit here, and we'll go out and we'll finish up driving, and we'll probably back it up to see if we can engage the servos on it. Oh, I don't have my e-brake. Take the e-brake off when you go to adjust them in the rear. You'll want to block the front. Also, I should say, you should always work with a jack stand under the car when you have a jack, just so that the car won't fall, and if it does, the jack does leak down, the jack stand will catch it. You also don't want to be under a car when you only have a jack stand. So try not to use your legs to put the tire up there, or get your hands under the tire to lift it up. You kind of want to go from the side. I think that's about all the safety stuff I have. I should have said that at the beginning, but, well, hopefully it works out. So, you know, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a actual mechanic. So let's get her out on the road here. Listen to that clutch scream a little. That's gonna throw out. Oh, those brakes feel good. It's nice, solid, non-boosted brakes. I like that. I was having trouble with my e-brake creeping. You'd be sitting on an incline with it set, and if you shift around in here, and you could hear the drum brake from slipping. I'm not going to give it the beans or anything, but we're going to put some miles on it here, get a little bit of drive time. Maybe I'll talk. I got to roll down the window though. It's March 1st. It's abnormally hot, warm for this part of the area, which is fine. I enjoy the warm weather. We've had snow and ice this year, quite a bit more than we had in the past, which is fine. If you're an outdoorsman and enjoy upland, that hopefully it'll help the pheasants and whatnot, or the quail, the chuckers, whatever you enjoy, whatever you're bird watching too, that helps. Everything feels good. Steering's nice and tight. I got some more stuff for the car, the 66, while we're driving and doing another driving video like I do sometimes here. I got some window seal for the back, because fortunately you're not hearing it right now, but normally that glass is rubbing on the trim and it is squeaking like none other, but unfortunately it's not doing it right now, so we can be grateful for that right now. What else can I say? I got a grease zerk for the steering gearbox, because I've never put fluid in this old girl, so we'll have to try and do that. And roller bearing conversion for the steering, the idler arm, because they just use rubber and they kind of take a dump on you. Oh, those are good brakes. Wow. Okay. Kind of surprised me because it hadn't been that good. I like that. So, taking a look at where I ride my trials stuff. Lots of corn cobs in that ditch. It'll be fun. Go ride my trials bike tomorrow, so that's going to be a video coming up here soon. First time of the year. Kind of lugging it here. Put some miles on it. Just gonna take her slow, I guess. Also, so I'll do that steering. I need to buy the rest of the parts for the steering. The outer tie rods and the inner tie rods. I'll probably leave the center link. It looks okay. That'll kind of complete the front end because I've already done neoprene bushings in it. Short of just having to do alignments every year or two, year and a half, it seems like. Should be okay. And my wife bought me neoprene bushings for the rear, so that'll take care of all that because I'm beginning to think that may be metal on metal back there anymore. I got new shocks for the rear, which were new when I bought new ones when I got the car. Put those in. But I'm really debating, do I want to do new leaf springs in the rear? I don't know, I could have these re-arched, but is it any better than just getting new ones, you know? So, that's kind of something I got on the summer to do. I also got a sway bar. That'll be the first performance upgrade I've done to this car, purely for performance. Some baby calves out here. Quite a few. There's like wider, a couple of little brown ones. Got black. Holstein. Okay, that was too low, bud. So, some llamas as well. But it's kind of nice taking a cruise. Haven't driven the car in quite a while. Definitely feel a lot more comfortable with these brakes. Again, I hadn't messed with these brakes in a long time. Probably close to 5 or 6 years. So it was time to do a little bit of upkeep to them, you could say. But that was a snake in the road. Yeah, we're just kind of cruising out, getting the wheels kind of shifted up here. What else do we got? Yeah, going back to that. So I do have a 10-inch flywheel in here that a V8 would run, and it's a little, the mass, it's about 16 pounds. The old 194 I had in here had a 32-pound flywheel, so that's a big difference. It does wrap up pretty quick. It's still a little cold. It hesitated there quite a bit doing that. Didn't backfire, but it did hesitate. Now I did run the 194 carb on this motor when I bought, after I'd done the 250 swap, and it ran really well. It would light the rear tire up pretty good, but it ran warm, and I'm beginning to think it was running pretty lean, especially in the summer, because I was running the 194 radiator at the time as well, and it's quite a bit smaller than the 250 radiator, the 230, 250, because the 194 radiator is actually the 153 4-cylinder radiator. So I went ahead and got a new one, and I've been through a couple. Okay, now come on, girl. There we go. I bent those shift rods, or I think I bent the shift fork here when I was out and about swapping clutches. Got a FedEx truck always turning. Getting used to a mechanical clutch is a little bit different. Again, Volkswagen has a hydraulic, which is, you know, just like a gas pedal. This mechanical one, I probably ought to grease it up here when I do an oil change in the fall. Well, no, spring. I got to do a spring oil change. So, grease her up. about the first 3, and then I kind of lost all clutch. And it was raining, and it was dark. So that was an adventure in itself. So crossing major highway, I just put the car in neutral and started it in gear. It worked. Took me a couple tries. Ended up having to start it in second. Second was the ticket for it to go. First, I was having a heck of a time. It just died. So. Anyways, I'm going to keep going on my drive, and I'm not going to ramble. So we'll catch up here in 2 seconds. So the first thing you want to do after you do any brake work is usually pump the brakes to make sure you have brakes before you put it in gear. It saves you a lot of trouble, because if you don't have brakes then, you aren't going to have brakes when you start it and put it in gear and try to take off. Another thing you could do is to help self-adjust the brakes is basically go in reverse and hit the brakes, and not necessarily lock them out, but you want to have it right on that edge, so that way the brake pads grab and that star wheel should spin and self-adjust. Should. Mine haven't been doing that. They kind of did. It's a lot easier to do it in an empty parking lot, as gravel, well, gravel kind of you end up just sliding. However, if you do go out on a gravel road to try it out, it's a good way to see which brake is actually locking up and which one isn't. So if you're wondering, well, I'm not able to stop real well, but one wheel is acting funny, the dirt is going to tell you, just because it's going to leave an imprint or it's not. As you can see, I got dirt behind, so it is locking up pretty good, at least on this side. Take a look at this other side. That one seems to be gripping. This one not as much, so I might have backed it off a little too much. 3 out of the 4 wheels ain't as bad, but because it's stopping pretty good. This one just isn't as much as the rest. I can adjust it and go back, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as it is, just because it's doing really well right now. If it gives me trouble with going around to on a stop, on an incline where I need to use the e-brake, then I'll probably go back and adjust it. But for now, I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Stay tuned for more.